commanding.
And now we're talking about medicine, as Ayo just said before we went on that break. We've spoken about food and its importance, and of course medicine is also important to the human body, because there are a lot of times certain things happen to you. You know, we talk about toxins here and there. The body is supposed to function as God has placed it, but then there are times that it needs help with a lot of things, especially, you know, when we're sick and we're ailing and some things are not just right. We expect them to be set right. So pharmaceutical innovation, you know, acts as a catalyst for national and continental development by fostering economic growth, improving public health, and building local capacity to address health challenges. That's what, you know, the pharmacists and pharmaceutical societies and associations are for. Now, this requires strong innovation system with collaboration between universities, government, and industry, as well as a supportive regulatory environment. By moving beyond simple drug manufacturing or distribution to R&D and local production of active pharmaceutical ingredients, countries can reduce reliance on imports, create high-skilled jobs, and develop some specific treatments. I know that Nigeria has been in that conversation for a while, talking about producing our own medication vis-a-vis, you know, importing them from other countries. Now we have to discuss this in the studio with us today, the Secretary General, Nigeria Academy of Pharmacists, Lekan Asuni. I hope I got that right.
Yeah, you got it right.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. It's interesting to know that where Nigeria has, you know, where we are at this point in time in our lives. I know that there was a particular time, I think it was the NAFDAC DG, you know, that was really championing Nigeria producing its own medicine. There've been a lot of testings and what have you, especially where you have when we're doing all these vaccinations, especially when we had, you know, all these diseases that were coming up globally and all that. But, you know, for a country like Nigeria, I'm not sure how much we're still doing now. There are a lot of pharmaceutical companies coming up with a lot of, you know, drug and medicine production and all that. But where are we now? In the last segment, we talked about food, you know, food security and sustainability. Where are we in terms of, you know, medicine security? Let me put it that way. Before I come into the other flow of issues that we want to put across today.
Okay, so thank you very much. When you talk about medicine security, I think it's a journey. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We've made considerable progress. It was a wake-up call for quite some time, but it became more glaring to her during the last COVID, when you know, the essential medicines that we could use, that we were heavily dependent on importation. We weren't able to import them because those other countries, their priority was to themselves and all that. So it became more a priority. I think prior to now, our level of imports was like 70% of our needs. And now is dropping to like about 60 to 50%, you know. So the level of local capacity utilization and fulfillment of local medicine requirement has moved to about 40% now. So quite a number of initiatives are underway to ensure that we have medicine security. That is, we're able to fulfill the domestic requirements for our medicines. There's a policy framework, a very long time, national drug policy, which states that we must strive to meet 70% of local medicine drug requirements locally. That aspiration has not been followed through. So you have NAFDAC. They have drawn a roadmap. There are some essential medicines that people has been available for several decades, 3-4 decades. And they've come out with a policy that, look, some of those drugs, we have capacity to manufacture them locally. They're not rocket science.
Right, but isn't this an issue of trust too? Yes, it's one thing to say, manufacture drugs locally. We have eye-openers, like you said, COVID, we're heavily dependent on imports. But the issue of, if you look at the label on the particular drug and you don't see that it's manufactured from another country, you probably don't want to buy it. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, I want the one, I don't want the locally manufactured one, because they want to trust the one that's coming from abroad. How have we been able to settle that to ensure that, it's not tomatoes and onions that you can, but that this is something that you want to ensure that once you take it, it actually works for whatever's affecting you. How have we been able to, get the Nigerian to be convinced that, what we make in Nigeria is equally as good and as efficacious as whatever's coming from abroad?
So thank you very much. There are what we call the overt and the covert ones. There are some initiatives to strengthen the supply chain that to ensure that products that get to the end consumer or the consumers are actually wholesome and fit for use. NAFDAC plays its part. They ensure that the local manufacturers are audited from time to time. Those that are not meeting up, they try to support them, and those that cannot really improve. And I think they have a clear way of, we've not had that case to stop them from producing the products. So largely, with the oversight that NAFDAC provides, we can see our locally produced pharmaceuticals are genuine. They are good. They can work well. That's not to say that we don't have fakes and counterfeits, which are largely with the imported products, and some products that locally people see them as fast moving, and they try now to counterfeit them locally and all that. Okay. And they try to combat that. There have been several measures taken to secure the supply chain. So on the very fast moving products, they've introduced some measures that you can confirm the authenticity. They've deployed technology that you can confirm the authenticity of those products at the point of sale. The distribution channel is being sanitized so that any outlet that you go, you can be sure that the products you get there, they are genuine. So open markets are being discouraged. You now have what we call coordinated wholesale centers. You have one in Kano where it's a mini market, but it's regulated. NAFDAC is there, custom is there, all the regulatory agencies are there, and people have their shops and what have you. So we continue to strengthen all that to ensure that wholesome products are available to consumers. Of course, what I advise is that Nigerians, if you see something, say something. So if you are unsure of the products you are buying, you should be able to contact your pharmacy. You should be able to flag it with appropriate authorities to investigate, because there are agencies with mandate to survey, outlets to check if or not some products are stocked or are being offered for sale to consumers. So we all have collective efforts to ensure that products that we consume are wholesome and all that, to complement what government is doing.
Talk to us about the initiative of the Nigeria Academy of Pharmacy, particularly in the area of pharmaceutical innovation.
So innovation for sure. When we talk about innovation, it basically refers to new or improved medicines, vaccines, and diagnostic kits and what have you, so that they improve healthcare, they improve quality of life, They reduce disease burden and what have you. And when you look at this, increasingly, most developing countries are seeing this not on the point of health alone. They are seeing it as something that could bring about economic diversification. It could reduce, import dependency, self-sufficiency, social security in particular. So for us at Nigeria Academy of Pharmacy, our mission is to be the think tank for pharmaceutical leadership, innovation, education in Nigeria. So it falls within our key priority to be a think tank on pharmaceutical innovation.
There's when Joke was asking questions around of you the other time, she mentioned food and agricultural. Was our friend NAFDAC. She mentioned NAFDAC. And I remember March 2020, if memory serves me right, the DG of NAFDAC, we asked her a question on this station. She raised the issue of medical insecurity, if we can, or pharmaceutical insecurity, if we can put it that way, and drug insecurity. And one of the things that she was saying, look, the active ingredients were not in Nigeria. You have also spoken to it. And she said two things. One, the fact that we need to jumpstart phytomedicine as a major low-hanging fruit for us as a nation. Phytomedicine. As a low-hanging fruit. And she also underscored the distance between the efficacy or the claims of efficacy of phytomedicine and research. So do you think we have moved the needle in bridging this gap, if you agree with her?
We have moved the needle. We have moved the needle. It may not be very obvious to most people. I think what is lacking in phytochemistry is the potential is huge. That space is largely unregulated, and most early players there have been very frontal with all sort of very viable, no evidence-based claims. It's like you can do everything. So what NAFDAC and a couple of other agencies, including government, have done now is to bring out about a framework so that all these products, they can apply for registration. Those claims can be validated, and what they communicate to consumers are what the agency actually licensed them for.
I'll pause you for a bit and you continue. Here is why. I'm almost certain that every adult in Nigeria today used one phytomedical, whatever or the other, that their parents gave to them. Herbal medicine here, a little leaf here and there. That were efficacious back then. Without regulation, without dosage and all those things. Just continue to take the agbo, you'll be okay. One way or the other. So now, if it worked, the challenge was regulating them, dosing them. Now, we need to fast track the research, because clearly what you're saying, it is not in doubt that these products have efficacy. It's for research to match the efficacy. So what's the challenge? We know that NIMA is also working on it. What's the challenge?
I think they are doing so much because, for one, I know that the Honorable Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare set out a committee on, unlocking the potentials of phytochemistry, and I happen to be a member of that committee. And you see, it's no rocket science what's going to happen. We have this. It's like you have lists of thousands and thousands. But, if you want to, if you have to win this game, you have to, prioritize. So part of what government is trying to do is have a robust database of all the various work that has been done, right? Then begin to tackle standardization and licensing of some of these, starting with high priority disease areas, because you cannot, it's a whole list, yeah? It's a whole list and all that. So that committee is working, and they have, gotten support from international agencies to actually, bridge this gap. We also have an agency on natural medicine, Nigeria Agency for Natural Medicine. They're actually doing a whole lot. It's a full agency, and they've been able to take some of the herbal products from, what is known for to what is not available, what it can be consumed safely. Yeah. So for us at Nigeria Academy of Pharmacy, we are actually working in that direction. When you talk about innovation, we setting up a research and innovation center, and part of the low-hanging fruits that I've identified is phytochemistry, natural medicine. Seeing how we can be thought leader, trying to, support policy framework, trying to, put a framework for deciding on the, priority areas of focus, providing support for commercialization. Because you see, some of these too, even when they discover, to take them to market, it's equally, a big challenge. Part of the advocacy too includes looking at the intellectual property. If I can just go back in my university days, quite a number of my lecturers, because I studied pharmacy, and the one arm of pharmacy is about this phytochemical, we call it pharmacognosy. That is drugs of natural origin. And they do so many lab works to see, okay, you say this can cure malaria. We go to the lab, we look at what actually is responsible for the anti-malaria. And by that, they're still doing their own work. The work is being taken over somewhere else. Yeah. And I can tell you, one of the great works that came out of my faculty in Ife is the anti-sickling medicine by late Professor Shofowora. It's from one chewing stick, they call it in Yoruba Oriata. I don't want to call the botanical name, So he did all his life on that, but we're happy that now it's been taken over by one of the indigenous pharma companies. They are the one manufacturing and promoting it and all that. So there's progress being made, and I think there's huge potential in phytochemistry.
Right. I do know that, when we talked about, we referenced the time of the COVID, when we first started, and how all the countries had to look inwards to see what they can do to improve their own health systems and, of course, their own medicine consuming medicines available. I do know then that one of the UN agencies, the WHO, was looking to different countries, to be a hub for production of some of these what do you call it now? Vaccines and all that. And I know that I think South Africa, Nigeria, and what have you were named as some of those countries. But now, looking at the African continent, we've been saying that we should have leadership. Nigeria is one of those countries that Africa looks to take a bold step in some of these things. And we're talking about advancement in pharmaceuticals. Africa is a resource-rich continent. Yeah. I was going to ask when you were talking the other time that do we have all these natural resources that we can use to produce some of these medicines without even looking to the outside world? We don't have everything, but we have a majority. If we look, we will have something similar, that Asia has, that, South America has, that this one has. Some of them they bring from us and they regrow in their regions and all that. So, how do we have an advancement how do we implement, pharmaceutical innovation ecosystem in Africa, such that we can look inwards and we're not dependent on any other continent to be able to, produce what we know that we already have. Research can help us, overcome that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks. I think for innovation, for it to thrive here, there are some missing links that we need to address. Okay? As we speak, most companies, we spend less than 1% of the turnover on innovation. Okay, so clearly, there are no incentives for you to engage in that. So we need to see a policy framework that incentivizes research and development. We need to look at our education and make sure we have strong research institutions. Yeah, we need to have strong research institutions, and we need to see public-private partnership. Where between academia, between government and the private sector, there is a common objective in terms of how focus on a particular problem is resolved. Research institution will do their, government will do theirs, private sector will take it up. We need to see that. We need to see, incubation hubs, hubs and capital to support such early, because innovation is very risky. Sometimes it works, majority of the time it doesn't work, but when you keep trying, you get it right. So you need to see that. Funding is important to support them. They have mentioned about the policy, education. So then, this is a critical one too, and we've always challenged those in the academia. Money will follow any good idea as long as it's solving a problem. Why don't we encourage our undergraduates, our postgraduate students, our PhD students to focus on addressing, that topic? It be something that's addressing a particular problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because if it's addressing a problem, is the starting point, money will follow it. For instance, if an undergraduate finishes first degree, completes the work on a particular area, then master's student can continue, PhD can continue, then it becomes even a survivor for the uni. I've been to a couple of countries. One that interests me, I was in Poland sometimes, just for a conference, and I interacted with the pharmacy academia who attended that conference, and they told me, see, we have this idea, we're going to sell it, because this is what this BSc student, BPharm, has focused on. This is what this PhD is doing. So there is always like a business case that whatever topic, it's not just to fulfill righteousness, but is to make sure that we resolve society problems, and there's funding to support it.
I wish I had more time to talk about some of these issues, because one issue that I would want to even ask you, unfortunately you can't speak to it, is I hope, you guys are an academy, so you are researchers. I hope you are finding ways of ensuring that all these African natural medical solutions are being documented and they don't die with the people that tried them. Don't answer that question.
Don't answer. And also another question that you may not answer is the issue of drug trials. And we do all these things. How open are people to actually, putting themselves up
we'll definitely have to get you back.
Because that's a very huge part of the industry too.
Well, the time is so short. I wish there is time to.
Don't worry, you'll be back.
To cover all this.
Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Pharmacist, right?
Yeah, pharmacist Lekon
Asuni, Secretary General, Nigeria Academy of Pharmacy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes, we told you that you needed to audit yourself.
Yes.
Now, it's difficult to ask you to do something when you don't even know that you need it.
That you need it, yeah.
And that is what we're talking about on Lifestyle When We Talk.